The Comanchero, one of the most high-profile bikie gangs in Australia.
Bikie gangs here in Sydney have all been duped.
Enormous confidence Mark Buddle has in Mark Buddle. You know, he just goes and grabs what he wants.
All they talk about is drugs, violence, hits on each other.
The amount of information that the police now might have is anybody's guess. And particularly if I was a Comanchero, I'd be worried about what they had.
Tell me who Mark Buddle is and how he fits into the criminal scene in Australia.
Mark Buddle is a Maroubra boy from Housing Commission who became a member of a Comanchero at an early age, and he's now risen to be what he calls the commander of the Comanchero. That's been over the last decade or so, his rise in the club.
What kind of power does that give him?
Complete control of what's considered probably one of the most high-profile bikie gangs in Australia, but he has left. He left here in 2016. He went overseas legally, but since it has emerged that he is a major person of interest in the murder of a security guard in 2010 in the heart of Sydney, a man called Gary Alabon, and ever since then he hasn't come back. But it still hasn't stopped him from running what's considered one of the biggest drug empires of any Australian living overseas.
It's believed he's in Dubai, is that right, or Turkey?
Where Mark Buddles is as we speak now is to believe in South Lebanon. He was based in Dubai for a long time. He was living in one of the most exclusive resorts over there, the Palms. Lived a pretty good life compared to his origins from Maroubra. Since there was a big blow-up called Anom.
An encrypted messaging app called Anom, which crooks thought hid their chats from police.
Anom was sold to them, the idea was it's sold to them by a crook in San Diego, saying this is foolproof. It was basically embraced by Haken Arif, a very, very senior crime warlord with an enormous amount of respect in Australia and Sydney, and the Comanchero. So he was the one that kind of endorsed it. Unbeknownst, every one of those messages that they were communicating was being captured by the FBI and the Australian Federal Police.
The app was created by the FBI, and for 3 years, Australian police have been monitoring every word.
They were talking freely about drug deals, about hits on people.
Yes, the amount of information that the police now might have is anybody's guess. And particularly if I was a Comanchero, I'd be worried about what they have. And as I said, we've seen arrests of quite a few of their members. The Federal Police and the FBI have captured a lot of communications between well-known criminal networks around the world, but particularly Australians. So there are a number of others that have been arrested because of that evidence. A lot of them are Comanchero. So there is a big problem there now. Mark Buddle is still running the club from wherever he is. The Sydney commanders, there's been about 4, but in the last few years, the Comanchero bikie gang is under the spotlight of New South Wales Police because of information being given from the Anom, because a number of the leaders have gone overseas, so they're considered a little bit weakened.
Mark Buddle's somewhere in the world, but not in Australia, somewhere in the Middle East, we can assume.
Yeah.
And you know, until recently we know he's been living the high life. I'd seen stories, I think written by you, that were describing him kind of hopping between Greek islands and chartering, you know, private jets to go to the Super Bowl. He's having a great time. Clearly that his lifestyle is being funded from somewhere. How is he managing to control Australian criminal networks from so far away? How's it kind of working from what you know?
I mean, there's fear and fortune, and he has both. People are scared of him, and he also has lots of money, and he does pay. Mark Buddles has always had a very loyal base of enforcers, or of people willing to do whatever he would like.
And it wasn't long ago that Mark Buddle sent a message out about a mafia-style kind of arrangement he was looking to introduce called the Commission. Can you tell me about that?
He sent a message out again on an encrypted device that went around to most of the criminal in Australia, the whole network, basically saying he had appointed himself as the head of the Commission, where he would basically put a tax on any importation of any drug arriving in Australia, particularly in Sydney. Before that, he wasn't just going to take the money. He said he would ensure that there would be safe passage, that people would be able to distribute their drugs safely. He also said that it would be a way of helping to control the price, because he's in the text message, he said that the price of Fry, which was ice basically, had crashed because of all the people involved in the drug world. And he said this way, via basically having a cartel controlled by him, the price could be elevated.
Over 1,000 police carrying out 33 search warrants and helping with 57 others. Almost all of the arrests here to do with the illicit drug trade.
So he combined like a business cartel with a mafia-style enforcement with him at the top. That has led to a lot of discontent, as you could imagine, amongst drug syndicates operating in Australia. It's led to what police believe are a number of kidnappings involved in Sydney, where people who weren't supposedly paying their commission tax were being kidnapped and then being held for ransom, and led to what people believed were some drug rip-offs targeting the Buddle syndicates. So it created more trouble, I think, than it might have been worth for Mark Buddle, although have things settled down over the last few months? We won't know until we really see what happens now that the lockdown is lifted. And then we might see the criminal activity return to normal, and it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out for the Comanchero bikie gang being run in absentia.
There will be debts owed, there will be conflict, and there will be someone trying to step up to fill that gap.
It's an incredibly ballsy move, isn't it, to be in a complete other part of the world and to just kind of say, do you know what, I'm naming myself as the boss of all the drugs that go into that country, and I'm going to tell every other kind of criminal badass that they have to pay up to me because I'm the boss now.
It shows that there's an enormous confidence Mark Buddle has in Mark Buddle. He did it when he took over the club. You know, he just goes and grabs what he wants. And this is, again, he just says, wait, I'm declaring this is what's going to happen. You can't really say he's backward and coming forward. He's very upfront.